It's me, Pastor Shay. So stoked to have you here. We've changed things up a little bit. We're getting into the summer end of things, and I'm so excited. We are up here in our Grace space. So when you guys come back to the church, it's gonna look a little different. It's gonna look super awesome, and I'm so stoked. Now, before I get into things, you know what it is. We got the super awesome fun bucket of the summer. And you know, we got the Cineplex.com gift card, we got Pizza Hotline gift card, and all these amazing things could be yours if you do the challenge at the end of the lesson. You know what it is. You can send it to email, Instagram, text, pigeon carrier, whatever you need to do. It's super exciting. Okay, so we have another thing with summer. I have some friends joining me. They are our summer students. Right over here, we have Austin, Amy, and Emily.
Hi, guys.
And we are so stoked that we get to do videos on Sundays together. We get to do Adventure Week. Don't forget to check out our website to check out Adventure Week. We're doing a space theme, so that's going to be super exciting. And yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to get to know these guys. They're super fun. Real quick question. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookie dough.
Okay,
I'll change cookies and cream. There we go.
Okay, so obviously we all like some chocolate chip cookie dough. Sweet. We are so stoked. We have so many fun things for you today. Let's go.
Hey guys, so I'm super excited to be with you today and for the rest of the summer. The first thing we're going to do this morning is an activity, sort of a game about taking risks, because that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this morning. So I have 3 cups here and a ball. I'm going to hide the ball underneath the middle cup, and you guys are going to try and follow along while I move the cups and guess which one is the ball ends up under, okay? So let's start. So we're going to start off slow, just like a nice level 1. All right, let's speed it up a little. Okay, speed it up a little more maybe. All right, so which cup, I'll give you a second, which cup do you think the ball is hidden under? Is it under this one? Nope. How about this one? Nope. If you said the middle cup, you're right. There's the ball. All right, now we're gonna head off into our next activity.
Hey guys, we are with Emily here, and we're going to do a little bit of a risk-taking thing.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this game? We're taking a risk for candy. You know
Yeah,
what
we
it
are.
is. All right, Emily, what are we doing?
Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to be flipping this coin, and Shay is going to yell out heads or tails, and if she gets it right, she gets a candy. If she gets it wrong, then I get a candy. So, here we go.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Heads. Heads. Heads.
Hey!
Heads!
There you go.
Yes,
Okay.
Let's do this. I'm so excited. I love candy. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? Tails? Tails. It was tails.
There you go.
I didn't even see it. That one sounded... Okay, here we
Another
go.
candy.
Another candy. It's green again. These are my favorite candies.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
ready?
do this.
Ready? Give me heads for 300.
Heads?
It's not. It's tails.
Dang
that was
it.
very upsetting.
Well,
okay,
at
okay.
least
That means
I
you
get
get a
a
candy.
candy.
You get a red one.
Okay.
That's okay, let's go.
So this last one,
Okay.
this one is all or nothing. So here we go. Are you guys ready?
Okay, so that means I get to double my candy? Oh my gosh. Okay.
And if you don't get it right, then I get your candy.
Okay, let's take this risk. Oh, heads? Oh, it's tails! It's tails!
Thank you.
Here, have all of it. Okay, guys, we're talking about risks today and what it means to take a risk and a risk for God. Because sometimes we have to take risks. Sometimes we're in situations where, you know, God is asking us to do something, maybe to pray for someone, and it feels a little wild. But I hope our game helped you remember that today. Let's go into our Bible story, and it's going to be super fun. We will see you guys later.
Hi there, you little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl. And this week, it's gonna be epic. We got some exciting stuff happening, so get ready.
Welcome to Grow TV. Introducing your host, Carl. And your co-host, Cassie. Where we learn, where we grow, and we talk about Jesus. Once once again, welcome to Grow TV.
Hello, welcome. I sure did miss you guys, like a lot. The past week I've done a lot of reading. I read a story in the Bible that you wouldn't believe. There was action. There was secrecy. I have a secret. And there was triumph. Thank you. Thank you. I won. You love me. You really love me. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah! Yes! Yeah! I'm telling you, the story had it all, and it got me excited. Because this week's series is all about epic. And if I had one word to describe the story I read, it would be epic.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, Cassie. I was just talking about this week's story.
What's the story?
Oh, man. It was great. It was the ultimate superhero story. A classic feel-good action drama. There's this lady named Rahab, right? And this lady made a lot of bad choices in her life. And outside the city, Joshua gathered 2 Israelite men who'd sneak into Jericho and spy on the city.
Why would they do that?
Well, because God told them to.
Okay, keep going. This is a good story so far.
It really is. So the spies snuck into the city, and when it became nighttime, they went into Rahab's house to spend the night.
Was Rahab an Israelite?
Nope, she didn't know the spies, but she did let them stay. But someone did see the spies go into her house, so they told the king of Jericho that the spies were hiding in Rahab's house.
Oh no, she's gonna get in trouble.
Yep, so in the morning, the officials went to her house, knocking on the door looking for the spies.
What did Rahab do?
Well, when Rahab found out that the king knew, she hid the spies on the roof and told the officials, yeah, they were here, but they left.
Well, that was a close one, but it's actually kind of cool, because she probably saved their lives.
She sure did. So Rahab let the spies escape through her window, but before they went, she only asked one thing.
What did she ask?
She asked if they would save her and her family when the Israelites took over Jericho. The spies said yes and told her to tie a scarlet ribbon outside her window. This would be a reminder of their promise to her and a symbol of her family being saved.
Wow, that is a great story. So what do you think the lesson to be learned is?
Are you serious? That was obvious. Ha, I'm gonna become a superhero.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna be a superhero. The most epic superhero ever.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Pretty simple. Rahab was a person who made a lot of bad choices.
Right.
And then when she saw the opportunity to help someone, she did. And she risked her life and the life of others to do the right thing. And guess what?
What?
So I was reading the Bible today, and in Hebrews 11, there's a thing called the Hall of Faith. It's like the Hall of Fame, but for people who obey God.
Okay, who was in the Hall of Faith?
Well, Moses, Nehemiah, Noah, Ruth, Abraham, and guess who else?
Batman?
No, but that would be cool. It was Rahab.
Really?
Yep, that's even more confirmation that I'm destined to be a hero, save the innocent, and take risks so I too can be in the Hall of Faith.
Wow, that seems like a pretty big dream.
I know, but that's what God has called me to do.
Is it though?
I think so.
I don't know, Carl. I think God is calling us to do something else.
Well, what do you mean?
I just think God has a pretty simple plan for us. Do you remember last week's big idea?
Mean I can trust God?
Yep. Why do you think Rahab risked her life to save those spies?
I don't know. Maybe she wanted to be in the Hall of Faith? She wanted to be admired as a superhero who saves people?
Nope. Rahab did that because she realized God is real, and she wanted to put her trust in God that day. She realized that taking a risk for God is a risk worth taking.
Wow, I never thought about it like that before. So you're saying I need to take risks for God?
Yep, we will often be faced with situations that require us to take risks, to do things that are tough or scary. But it's okay, because if God asks us to do something, we know God will be with us.
Things are tough and scary, huh? Well, does skydiving count as taking a risk for God?
I don't think so.
What about going up behind a horse and pinching it?
Definitely not.
What about drinking chunky lemon milk that's been in the fridge for 4 months? That's taking a risk, right?
Definitely a risk, but not one for God.
All right. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the story of Rahab is a really good example of what someone should be willing to do if they love God. Just like if we had a friend at school that might be in trouble, we know we would help them, even if it meant we would get in trouble.
You're right. I can still be an epic superhero as long as I take risk for God.
Whoa, Mr. Hall of Faith. I think you just said something pretty epic.
Wait, that's our big idea!
Today's big idea is I can take risks for God.
So on the count of 3, we're all gonna shout our big idea. Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3. I can take risks for God! Alright! Good job, we did it, everyone! Huzzah!
This was a fun story.
It sure was. Now I'm gonna go and practice my superhero catchphrases in the mirror. Have a good one.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Pro TV.
I love hanging out with Carl and Cassie. They're so funny. Today's Bible story came from, obviously, the Bible. Joshua 2:1-15. It was really interesting. And we've been talking about risks this whole time, right? What is a risk? In today's Bible story, there's a lot of risk-taking happening. The two spies, can you give me two? Two spies from Israel took a huge risk for God by sneaking into Jericho. Something terrible could have happened to them if they were caught by the king of Jericho. That would be so scary. I'd be so scared. But they did it anyways, because they knew that their job of spying on the land was a very important one. Okay, every time I hear the word spy, I want you guys to go, da-da-da-da. Ready? Spy. Da-da-da-da. So it was so important for them to spy on the land because God had asked them to. So Rahab also took a big risk for God by hiding the spies from the king of Jericho. She could have turned them in, and that would have been a safer choice because she wouldn't have gotten in trouble either. But somehow she knew that God was about to give Jericho over to the Israelites, and she wanted to do what was right in God's eyes. And that was going to be a big risk for her to do, to take this jump and be like, okay, God, this is what I'm doing. Taking risks is tricky. You should never do anything dangerous, right? We don't want to do anything crazy or something that breaks the law. God would not be pleased with that, but you will find that there are times when you need to take a risk in order to do something that would please God. So how do you know when it's okay to take a risk? Maybe if it's going to help someone out, if it's going maybe to tell someone about Jesus, maybe if it's going to maybe if it's something that God has told you to do, right? Like Rahab, there's times to take risks, and taking risks for God. Like, I love this story. It's so cool to me. Now, it reminds me of a time I've had to take a few risks for God in my life. Like, I moved all the way from Edmonton to Winnipeg because God put in my heart that I was going to be a pastor somewhere. And I was like, where am I going? And when I came to Winnipeg, I was like, this place is so cool. And I just felt God was like, this is where you're staying. That was a big risk because I didn't really know a lot of people here. But a couple weeks before I moved up to Winnipeg, I went to this big youth conference with the church I was at in Edmonton, and we were sitting next to a couple people, and the lady next to me, I just felt God telling me to pray for her. Now I'm a loud person, I'm a talkative person, but I was like, I don't know this lady, we have not talked before, and I was like, okay, God, I'll do it. Like, it feels kind of weird. I didn't want to freak her out or make her feel unsafe, but I took the risk and I talked to her, and it turned out that she needed someone to pray with, that she needed this encouragement. So God used my kind of to give her just this encouragement and this love, and it was really awesome. And taking risks for God isn't always easy because sometimes we're like, I don't really want to do this, I'm a little scared. But in the end, it's God's amazing big plan that we're a part of and that we get to be a part of. All right, guys, we are going to go and read some scripture with Amy. Let's go do that.
Okay, guys, so we're going to be reading Philippians 4, verse 10 to verse 13. I rejoiced greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content wherever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So you guys, Paul took a lot of risks for God. In this letter, Paul is telling his friends that he trusts God in everything. Because he trusts God, he knows that God will help him through whatever he is facing.
Hey guys, it's Shay and Austin here. we're talking about some big things that have been happening in our world lately. There's some, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the news, even on social media, there's so many things happening, whether it has to be with the pandemic that's going on, or there's a lot of social justice stuff that's happening where people are standing up for people who are being treated wrongly. We see a lot of this all over the place, and it's just a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah. And we were just talking about we're talking about risks this week, and yeah, we had this whole conversation about it, and we kind of came to a question.
Yeah, so I'll ask you guys first, and then our friend Shay here will answer. How could you take a risk to work toward the kingdom of God in these situations?
Yeah, so situations like maybe you need to stand up for someone, and that can be taking a risk. Because did you know that Jesus stood up for people who were being treated unfairly all the time? And the big word that is used a lot is persecuted. So people who were being, like, there's the story of the woman at the well. There's the story with the people who bring that woman to Jesus, and they're like, hey, she should be stoned because of the wrong things she's done. And Jesus said, if you have never sinned before, then you can throw the rock at her. And nobody did. So Jesus stood up for people, and he loved them so fiercely, and we can do that too. I think that's something that we can do. We can take, and it might feel like a risk sometimes, because maybe some people aren't about standing up for others, but we know that God, that's the heart of God. He wants us to love people. Yeah. Well, we're going to go into our memory verse with Emily, and it's going to be super awesome. All right.
Okay, guys, we're going to do our memory verse now. So I need everybody to stand up, get a good stretch going. Okay, let's do this. But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all of your heart. And that's found in 1 Samuel 12:24. Awesome.
Good evening and welcome to
Questions with Austin.
I'm Austin. Today's questions are, what risks did the spies take going to Jericho? The spies took 2 huge risks for God by sneaking into Jericho. Something terrible could have happened to them if they were caught. But they did it anyway because they knew that their job of spying on the land was the more important one. Question 2. What risks did Rahab take by protecting the spies? She took a big risk for God because she could have turned the spies in, which would have been the safer choice. She might have even gotten a reward for doing it. But somehow, she knew that God was about to give Jericho over to the Israelites, and she wanted to do what was right in God's eyes. Number 3, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. What does this verse tell us about God's response to taking risks for God? To me, this verse tells us that we can trust God because we know that God will help us with whatever we are facing. Number 4, why is it important to take risks for God? I think it's important to take risks for God because we need to trust that God's plan is better than what we could come up with our plan for our own lives. Number 5, when do you think it is okay to take a risk? We should always be ready and willing to take risks for God because God will help us with whatever we're facing, and we can trust that he has a plan for us. And lastly, what is one risk that you think you can take for God? I think a cool risk you could take is inviting friends to church or inviting them to Grace Space to hang out with Pastor Shay and the rest of us. And from all of us here at Questions with Austin, we'll catch you on the flippity flip.
Hello, friends. And you thought that we were going to end off today without telling you about our challenge for this week. Well, we talked about spies, so this week we're going to be doing a spy challenge. So you can make up a course, maybe you put some string together across, maybe you make an obstacle course, something really cool in your backyard, maybe in your living room, whatever you want to do. Send in pictures, videos, you know where it is. We got email, pigeon carrier. If someone actually does that, that would be hilarious. And we got Instagram, wherever your parents want to send it, feel free to do that. We are so stoked. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. I'm so glad we got to spend this time together. I'm going to pray for you guys really quick. We're going to put our hands together. This guy cannot put his hands together, but that's okay. And we're going to pray together. Lord God, I thank you so much for today. I thank you that we can learn to take risks for you, and that you have just, you love us so much, and you want us to tell others about you and to help others out. In your holy, mighty name, everyone said, amen. All right, friends, we will see you next week. Bye.